What's up, guys? It's Jim with Awaken TCG, bringing you guys another video today. Today we are going to be playing on the One Piece Simulator that just got the OP07 update. Finally, thank you so much to Batsu. That guy is an absolute legend, letting us play these cards way earlier than we should have been able to. Because I am so excited for Lucci today. I made a video earlier, about a couple weeks ago, about how excited I was for this leader and just the power it has and potential. So really excited to actually get to put my hands on this thing. But let's go ahead and check out the deck list before we get into the gameplay. So as far as this deck goes, it's pretty much a CP9 list. If you played Lucci in OP03, it's kind of similar, but it's also very different. There's a lot of new cards, obviously, that were 4 sets down the line. Obviously, we're going to run a lot of new stuff, but there's also a lot of old stuff. So, like I was talking about, the Spandam is going to search top 3 and build your trash, which is very, very important in this deck. If you don't know what the leader does, probably should have talked about that. But basically, very simple effect. When you attack, you get to just trash the top 2 cards of your deck. And then just like every other black leader in this game, basically, you're going to -1 cost to one of your opponent's characters, which is a very, very strong effect. So we basically want to build our trash as fast as possible so all these cards can have options. Let's go over these cards. Another oldie but goldie is going to be Kaku with the CP9 type. Fantastic card. Just really efficient. A 5/6 that's going to KO a 3. You can kind of compare it to like a Gadatsu. Almost every yellow deck's running Gadatsu. This is our Gadatsu, but obviously we're in black. So this 3 is extending all the way to, you know, upwards of 10 costs if you really wanted to. And then next up here, we have Khalifa is our best searchable 2K, I would say, right next to this new Kaku. We don't really play this card. This is kind of just for the fact that it's searchable. But this Khalifa is actually really good. As I said, we want to build trash in this deck. So on 4 Dawn, a lot of times, if I don't have a better play, this is one of your best plays. Like, no joke. Playing out this 2K and getting a 4K on board and getting 2 cards into trash is really strong. So I really like this 2K. Also, just a really, really good searchable card. Next up here, as far as the CP engine goes, we have the Rob Luccis, which are going to be our main KO, like multi-board KO target in this deck. Being able to recur it off of Rebecca or stuff like Moria is going to be very, very strong. And we couldn't talk about Lucci without this new from EB Spandine. Basically this card wouldn't be good if Lucci wasn't a card, but since he is, this card is kind of insane. So on play, you're going to be able to return 3 cards with CP in type from trash to bottom of deck. And then you can play a 4 or lower character with CP in its types other than Spandine from your trash rested. So pretty much playing this just for 3 Dawn is okay. But the main thing we want to do with this card is we want to play it off Rebecca. So we're not running Hina in this list. We kind of have different avenues that you'll see when I actually play this deck. But this is the main target you want to play off Rebecca, because you can basically have just played or Lucci off of Rebecca. It's an insane combo. And with our other 2 costs off of Moria, if we're playing Rebecca off Moria, we can either search with Spandine or get more cost reduction with Tsuru. Very, very strong. And now going over the newest CP cards, we have Tempest Kick. This is just going to be 1 Dawn main event. We're going to draw 1 card. And then after that, if our trash has 10 or more cards, which is why we really want to build this trash, because this card is insane, you get a -3 cost, which is really good. So this card is basically just super great eruption for the CP archetype. Really love it. And last but not least, for the CP cards, we have Stussy, who is absolutely amazing into so many matchups. If we just don't have the cost reduction for our opponent who, say, just dropped like a 9 or a 10 cost, we don't have to worry about it. You just play Stussy and get like a Spandam off board, and we get a KO it for free while developing a 9K. So best big body removal in the deck and best multi-body removal in the deck. We have it all. Now getting into the non-CP stuff, I think the most important card is going to be Sabo. Again, another card that builds our trash, but also another card that's going to protect our board, especially in a meta where Sakazuki is not on the table anymore. The best removal decks are going to be black decks like Gecko Moria or other Luccis, or even stuff like Enel, who can only get rid of cards by KOing them. So Sabo is an insane 4F staple that I think you need to run. And also, if I'm going first on 5 Dawn, he's usually our best play because we don't really want to play Kaku early because he kind of doesn't build our trash. We'll play him sometimes when we need to, but otherwise don't really want to. Next up here, let's go ahead and talk about Brook. I really like Brook in this deck. Some choosing not to run it, but I like it a lot, especially in decks that like to run a lot of 4 costs. Because if we get Ineos Lobby on the board, which is another card in this deck that I think is really good, just a -2 cost every turn that cannot be removed, unless they're running stage removal, but nobody runs that. With Brook and Leader Effect, you can basically just KO 4 costs with Brook every single turn as long as it's 6 on board. So really strong combo there, and also playable off Rebecca, which I really like in some scenarios. The second best target to play off Rebecca after Spandine for sure. I already talked about Moria a bit, but everybody knows how good Moria is in black by now. We're running a 4-0, right? You're playing the Rebecca into a Lucci, into a Searcher. Like, this guy he's broken. I'm really surprised he didn't get included with the bans. Last but not least here, we have the new Secret Rare 8-cost Sabo. I actually have considered putting this to 2 of because there's some situations where this card just goes absolutely bonkers. I'd say just the best multi-wide board removal in the game for me right now. Obviously, Lucci's really good, but it's only a 2 and a 1. Sabo is just a 5 and a 3. So that is a total of 8 cost worth of KO power. And if you just decide to add on Leader Effect, a stage, and let's just say a Tempest Kick, that is +6 more, so that is going to be 14 Dawn of KO power, which means you can pretty much KO, you can KO a 10 cost and a 4 cost, you can KO an 8 cost and a 6 cost. You know, it's pretty much limitless at that point. There's so many good situations for this guy. You do have to discard a card, which I think is our only card in the deck that requires you to discard for its effect, but it's honestly worth it. Definitely one of the cards I like to see in the green matchup, as most of their bodies are mid-sized, and this is the best one to remove them all at once. So that is going to be the deck list. Really excited to play this deck, guys, and really excited for OP07 in general. Thanks again to Batu for putting this stuff on Sim. Let's get right into the gameplay. And getting into our first game here, looks like we're going to be going against the Jewelry Bonney. So probably always want to go second if we can help it. So we do get the Moria in the opening hand, which is pretty ideal. I don't love the rest of my hand, but I think I'm still going to keep. Just because we can't draw more, or we can't search out Moria, so getting it in the opener isn't too bad. I think we're actually just going to activate Tempest Kick. Just want to build the trash as fast as we can, because we really aren't using this for at least the next 3 or 4 turns. So really just don't want it sitting in my hand. Would rather use it for a draw, to be completely honest. Looks like we might not have a play next turn, so I might be punished for keeping that opening hand. But if that happens, you know, not much we can do about it. So 6k lead, we will choose to take. Don't think I'm going to play this Kaku out, even if it is a body on board. I think it would be better, and we're drawing into another Tempest Kick. Really rough hand here, I'm not gonna lie. Let's at least swing into Baby 5, use our card action. We'll minus Bonney here. Looks like we got a Spandine in trash, which is not too bad. I think we're just gonna activate this, draw again. Now we draw into the Khalifa, which I definitely would have played, but unfortunately I have 3 down to work with. So pretty slow start here. Let's see if we can make something of it, because our hand is majority 2Ks. And our trash really didn't get built up yet, so a little bit rough. He does only have a Bonney out on board at this moment in time, so it is not too bad. 5k, we will definitely just be countering out of that. Do not want to deal with the large swings later. Arouge does not do a lot here, and I'm assuming we're really just going to attack into the Bonney and KO the Arouge. I usually don't like to use Kaku early, but we need a body on board right now, and we want this Arouge gone, so we're going to use this and get rid of the events since they have no use in trash. The main targets you want to get out of trash are events first and then the big body second, since you cannot do anything with either of them. And it looks like on 7 Dawn, I think you could drop like a Hawkins right now, which would be a little bit annoying. We don't have any good targets for Moria, really. No Rebecca's, no Lucci's, so I don't think we'd play Moria even if we got it next turn. And the 5k lead is kind of reading to me that he's... Oh, wow, we get the NES Lobby Stage trigger here, which is really good. So if he drops a Hawkins right now, it's going to be a little annoying, I'm not going to lie. Because truly, yeah, that card is really good in this matchup because we only have characters that can KO, which means this card will always have a valid target if we try to use one. So in that case, we might as well just not even try to kill it. So if you play Moria right now, we can just play out Khalifa and build trash. I say we're going to swing 5 and see what we get. From leader effect, looks like we actually don't get anything, unfortunately, here. And if he doesn't block with Hawkins right now, I think he's kind of trolling. Not gonna lie. Waiting on opponent here. He's actually gonna 1k out, which I think is very, very wrong. But in that case, I think our only real play here is just drop the Moria, get some cards on board, and we will play you, and we actually don't have another target for the other one, so definitely going to trash that, and then we'll trash Lucci so we can play it off of our Moria next turn, which I'm assuming we're going to play. Now at 9 Dawn, I know this deck runs 8-drop Kid, but if he does play that, I don't think that's going to be the right option, in my opinion. But if he does play a Rocinante 2-drop, it's going to make it a little annoying to deal with, for sure. So let's just see where he goes with this. I think this Hawkins is probably the best card to find in this matchup. Just really powerful for the fact that we actually can't get rid of it if we really want to. Just for the fact that it pretty much, like I said, we only have characters to KO it. And he's going to freeze Kaku. I think if I were him, I probably would have froze leader. I don't think I agree with that play. And now with a Moria, we might be able to KO the Bonney and the Rocinante. Actually, let me read this card. If this character is rested, your after character's original 5 cost cannot be KO'd by effects. Okay. So we're actually going to play Stussy this turn, I think. No Rebecca's in trash. Yeah, I think we're just going to play a Stussy right now. So he actually doesn't have leader effect up, which is pretty good for us. So let's go ahead and just swing 10 at this thing and see what he does. If he wants to give us a 2k and a 1k, that is absolutely fine with us. He's actually going to give it to us, which means we could play a Moria instead here, which I might like. So we can get Bonney down and we can also get Hawkins down, but do I really want to let him activate Hawkins effect? Probably not, but I think it is our best option. So let's just go ahead and swing 5, get a little bit of use out of this body before we probably lose it in the next turn. He's actually going to take the 5k, which I definitely don't agree with. Go another 5. We'll use card action on Bonney. And from here, looks like we didn't get a Rebecca in trash. I kind of wish we did, but it is fine. Don't have a Spandine either, or a Spandum. Going to drop 4/5 and just play the Rob Lucci. No other characters to play. Oh, I forgot to use stage. Oh, that's such a misplay. Well, that's what happens if you misplay, ladies and gents. That Bonney should have been dead, but we forgot to activate stage. That is a that's a minor misplay for sure. Don't roast me in the comments, guys. I am definitely no expert on this deck just yet. Also confused my opponent. My opponent has not been blocking with Hawkins. I don't really understand that. Because he sees I don't have any swings left, so there's no reason to not actually block with it. But in this situation, I mean, we're still in a good spot. Like, our board is way better than his. If he has a 10 cost Flamingo here, it's a bit annoying, I'm not going to lie. Going to go 5k here. I want to say that's a 10 cost. And if it is, we will definitely be killing it with Stussy. So I think we're just going to let him have board here. If he ends up swinging 6 into... Oh, he's actually going to swing 7. So that is confirmed not a 10 cost. It could be an 8 cost still. He does have the Dawn active. So we're actually going to counter out of this one. Let's go ahead and get a Suru in trash. I don't think we actually have one in there just yet. It's actually going to be another Bonney, which is interesting. I don't really love that play from him, but it definitely works. And at this point, we can get a pretty decent board clear. Stussy doesn't do great here, and this is why I don't like running for Stussy. When your opponent goes wide, oh, the Rebecca draw here is great. Because I think we have a Lucci in trash. We actually don't, which is a bit of a problem. Once again, we are really not drawing great, I'm not going to lie. So at this point, I say we do this, and let's see what we get off of our leader effect. I think we have to swing into Bonney with Moria first, see what he rests. If he chooses to rest leader, that's probably correct on his part. However, if he does not, that is fine with me. He's going to rest Lucci, which I think is definitely wrong. If he blocks with the Rouge here, we'll take. Yeah, he's actually just going to activate. And at this point in time, I really wish I had Lucci in trash, honestly. Not seeing my Lucci's this game, not seeing my Searchers this game, so that is a bit tough for sure. Let's just swing 5 and see what we get. Looks like we got a Brook and a Sabo, so we can actually utilize Brook off of Rebecca here, which is not bad. In that case, this guy's already in range, but I guess we'll just minus him again, it doesn't really matter. And at this point, if he wants to block, he can go ahead and do so. And now we will definitely just be playing Rebecca into Brook. Getting rid of Rob Lucci so we can put him in the trash. Okay, going to do this. Grab the Brook. We'll play the Brook over Lucci, trashing Lucci, and KOing this Rouge. And then with our remaining Dawn, I think we're just going to swing big. Definitely not the most efficient turn of all time, but definitely putting him in a spot where we're definitely in a pretty convincing lead. He can't really deal with this blocker very easily. He can deal with it on his turn if he wanted to use leader effect to rest it, but I don't really think this deck runs a whole lot of cards that rest, actually, even for it being green. At this point, if he doesn't get rid of Brook, it's going to be pretty easy for us to actually clear his board. So he's going to go into it here. Definitely just give him a 2k. And if he wants to swing big, once again, we'll just block with Rebecca, which we do here. And at this point in time, if that is a 10 cost Dofi, like I said, we'll probably just be doing the old 9 cost Stussy KO, which it is indeed. And he's actually going to choose to let Brook restand, which is a bit scary for him, but that is going to be fine with me. And we actually get 8 cost Sabo, so that might change up our turn here. But I don't think I can get Dopey down that low. Leader effect plus this only gets him down to 7, which means I'd have to drop a Suru at that point, and then I can't actually get this Bonney low enough at that point. So definitely just going to be a Stussy turn, I think. We'll swing with Brook and we'll swing with lead, and then just play Stussy here. And I swear this guy doesn't know his Hawkins is a blocker, because he's really playing like it is not one. And it looks like we get all 3 of our Rebeccas in trash. They decided to stick together, it seems. And as for our Morias, we have not seen any of them. So they're either in our life or they're in these last 18 cards. So if he has a block with Hawkins here, I don't think he knows if that card's a blocker. But he's also not swinging with it. So very confused there. So we'll actually just KO the Dofi for free with the Stussy. We do have to get rid of Brook, but that's honestly not too bad. So at this point, if he has another 10 cost, it's going to be a little annoying. There's no doubt there, but at least we have the Sabo, so we could get rid of it. And if we draw into another 1 cost event, which I think is a possibility, then we actually can get rid of Bonney as well. This Bonney should have been gone if I didn't misplay earlier, but you know, you live and you learn. Now on Tendon, at this point, again, I think another 10 cost is probably your best option. I also think he should have been swinging more at leader. He's really been focusing on my board. But I think if you just swing at leader, that would actually put a lot more pressure on me right now. Also, if he ever utilized this Hawkins, he'd save a little bit of cards in hand, but decided not to do so. Finally swinging into leader here. We'll definitely be taking this first hit. Getting a Brook out of life. He'll go another 7 to lead. With 7 down remaining, I don't really know what the scariest card you can drop on me right now. And the Sabo is going to be really big. He's going to go 7 again, actually. So we'll give him a Brook and a Kaku. Do not want to go down to 0. It's a bit too scary to go down all the way to that. Another Bonney is maybe his best option here, as it can arrest one of my Morias. But I don't really know if there's any cards that can save him. My board's a bit too menacing at this point in time. And looks like he's going to drop a Cavendish, probably into an Rouge, I would assume, if he's leaving that much Dawn up. But, you know, he could not drop an Rouge. Definitely thinking about this play, but if you do have an Rouge, I don't think there's much to think about. He's actually going to... Interesting. Going to decide to leave 4 Dawn up. So I'm just going to start swinging 9s and see what happens. I don't really think there's... Like, if he has, like, double Punk Gibson, I guess he can live this turn. But this is why we swing 9s with no Dawn attachment first, because we have Moria in hand, so if he does do something like that, then we don't have to deal with it. Another 9. He'll show us if he has a Punk Gibson right now, I'm assuming. Yeah, and at this point, it's all on Kaku. There is no combination of cards that can save you from a 16k swing. So yeah, that is going to be the game. And getting to our next game here, we're going to be going against Red and Blue Vivi, a deck that I've actually heard is really decent in OP07. The new Boa does wonders for this deck, as it gives you a great body to swing with and play on curve. With this hand, I think we're okay to keep. NES Lobby on curve is great, and we get a Sabo, so we can look for our Morias, etc. Also, putting Vivi on 1 Dawn, I don't really think they have any plays, so that is great for us. I think we want to play... Oof. I could do Spandam plus Tempest Kick, which I think is better, just to kind of put on the pressure here. We're actually just going to completely whiff. But at least we build trash, and we're actually going to draw into the Moria, which is very, very nice. Whiffing with Spandam in this deck is really rare. We run, I think, 25 CP cards exactly, so that's going to be half the cards in our deck. So whiffing in this deck is easier said than done for sure. I think we will just swing 5 here, build our trash. We get a Rebecca in there, which is very nice. He'll actually take that. And then I think we could swing with Spandam, or we can just drop this before any other later turns. I think we'll do that. There's really no rush to take out Vivi. Kind of just remove her stuff on curve. As we see with this Marco, we're going to actually just force him to give us a... We can either force him to give us a vent, or we can just play Sabo. And I think I'd rather just play Sabo. Just getting a blocker on board. And building this trash, as we are going to play Moria next turn, so I want the most amount of options in my trash that I possibly can have. So going to play Sabo now. Stussy's insane in this matchup, so we'll keep it in hand. And then Lucci we probably want in trash. as well as this Suru. I don't really need it. Do I already have a Rebecca in trash? Yeah, let's put Suru in there if I don't already have one, which I do not. So we will put her in there. And then next turn, we're either going to do Moria into... Oh, he's actually playing a Kuzan. I don't think I've ever seen this card be played in this deck, so that's kind of interesting. Pretty good target since it's a 5k that can swing. So if he does swing with this first, we'll probably just take, and then he's going to swing 6, so we can't just easily counter out. We will take that. He's going to go 6 again, so we'll just probably give him an easy 1k. And with 1 Dawn up, I don't really know what he's trying to do there. That is fine with us. Can we remove both bodies is the question. We can get Kuzan down to 2, and we can get Marco down to 1. So yeah, I think we're just going to remove both bodies. We'll swing here and put Kuzan down to 2. Did we get a Spandine in trash is the question. We did not, unfortunately, which is fine with us. So we can, we could develop, no, I think we'll just develop the Moria. I don't think there's any reason not to. Give us the Ace, which is very nice here. We'll drop the Moria, playing out a Lucci and a Suru that I wanted in trash earlier. Activate the Suru effect first and use the Lucci effect, putting stage, event, and a Kaku into trash. We'll KO him, force him to give us an event. And he's going to give us the Happiness Punch, which he was probably saving with that 1 Dawn there, but decided not to use it, which is a little interesting. And at this point, if he drops a big card right now, we're probably just going to do Stussy next turn, yeah, and KO it for free. Or if it's only a 7-cost Borsellino, honestly, we can just do a Kaku. So going to go into our Sabo, I think we'll just give him that, and we'll take this 8k to lead. He's actually going to go 8k to Suru. That was definitely not what he wanted to do, but we will give him that. So at this point, we will go 5 to leader. We use our card action and minus on Borsellino. And then going to swing at Borsellino once again, requiring a 2k counter. See if he gives it to us. But honestly going to doubt that he is going to go all the way there. He's going to give us 2 1Ks actually. Very interesting. So at this point, we are just going to drop, I think we have the Rebecca Spandine. I don't know if that does much right now. I could just go Rebecca into... I can go Rebecca, play out a Kaku minus the Borsa, and then drop another Kaku. I think might not be bad. Let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna go ahead and draw you. Oh, we actually don't have a Kaku in trash. I think I misplayed this. So we're actually gonna do, yeah, and then we're gonna play you out. We use card action. We will put you in the out of here and you out of here and one more of you and play you. Trashing you and another Lucci. We'll choose you and then we will rest and play a Kaku finally. Definitely don't know if that was the most optimal turn ever. I probably could have played that better, especially because we got rid of all of our Luccis in trash, which I don't think are really great in this matchup, but it's definitely good to have them there at least. But clearing that Borsellino is pretty good, as well as developing a pretty sizable board. With a blocker and with one attacker, he can't really do much to this board at all. If he swings into the Spandine, I'll give it to him, but anything else I'll probably just block. And with the Shanks, that is very nice for us. So I'm actually going to keep the Spandine on board because it is going to be a target for a 9-drop. So we'll actually be not letting him have that one. And at this point, we are just going to start swinging into lead. 5k, let's see if he takes He's actually going to take a 5, which is really interesting. And he's going to get the Kaku bottom deck, which is really good for him. So going to -1 on the Shanks. Obviously, we're not actually going to KO it, but with the cost at least. So we're going to just KO with the Stussy. Get rid of it there, and if he wants to play another one next turn, we will just end up following that with another Stussy. So that is the power of this card. He's going to go ahead and Red Rocket, which is fine with us. And with 4 Dawn, he can't really do much. Yeah, he's just going to draw a card, which we don't really care about. So in that case, we can either require him to use an event by playing this plus Brook. I think we're going to do this anyway. Yeah, and then I think we'll just start swinging into it, putting on pressure. So let's go 6. Give it minus once again. If he wants to give us a whole event for this, that's fine. Then we will be playing Brook, KO it, give us an event. Thank you very much. We'll play Sabo, protecting that, and we'll trash a Lucci and that Spandine. And at this point in time, he can't play a Shanks. He doesn't really want to play a Borsellino, although he can, and bottom deck the Brook, I guess. It's not really the best option. And next turn, we're probably just going Stussy. Spandam into Stussy, I would assume. Clearing board. And he's got 2 swings here, so we'll probably just counter out of the 6 and then take the 8. Although he's definitely thinking about this here. So yeah, he'll just go 6. We'll give him a 2K. And then 8 we will just take. Yeah, so gonna take that. And start swinging at leader. We use card action, minusing Borsellino. Again, this doesn't matter because Stussy just KOs anything. But definitely still a very strong option. Gonna go 6, demanding a 2K, which he kind of showed us that he didn't have earlier. Gonna drop this, and now we get another Stussy. Actually, not bad because we can kind of conceal what we have in hand, whereas if we drew something else off the Spandam, he would know one of our 3 cards. Going to play a Boa Hancock, and probably just swing into this Sabo, which if he's only going to swing 6, I'm actually going to counter out, but he's going to go ahead and swing 8. And then probably not going to swing with the Marco at all, which is interesting. So we'll swing another 5 at lead. See what he does here. We're building this trash a lot, and having 13 in trash is a bit scary, so we're definitely going to need to watch that for sure. Probably going to want to draw Kaku here, as we need a little bit more KO power. And we need to put stuff in the bottom of our deck, so. With 2 Nikids on board, he's in a pretty rough spot. He'll drop the Shanks, which is fine, I guess. He will swing 6. I think we'll have to counter out because we do not want to deal with any shenanigans. And at this point, I think we're just going Sabo plus, or we could go, no, we'll go Sabo plus Kaku, but we'll swing 9 first. It's going to take. We'll swing, I think we'll just go 10, because if he doesn't have a blocker next turn, he loses. We'll go 10, use card action on Marco. He's actually going to take with that as well. And then he's going to have to give us a card here if he does not want to die. Put another Stussy there so we can actually recur it if we draw it later. Yeah, he'll give us the 0 cost event. And at this point, it's blocker or bust. Because I'm just going to have too many swings for him to deal with. He's actually going to, yeah, choose to do that. And then probably try to counter out of a leader swing. A little bit risky because if he's not going to attach anything to swing into Stussy right now, okay, which he actually is, which is smart. Don't want me countering out of that. And then he'll swing with Marco, but with no Dawn up, there's just no combination of cards that can save you from a 15k swing with 5 cards in hand, so that is going to be a wrap, and that's also going to be why I chose to swing at lead. So that is going to be the game. Actual real close one, and showing you the power of Vivi in OP07 for sure. And that is going to be the video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching. I really enjoyed this deck, and definitely going to be my main deck in OP07. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any changes you'd make to this list, or if you want to see us play any new leaders, OP07 stuff that's on the sim now. So if you guys want to see Bonney, you want to see Vegapunk, anything like that, let us know, and we will get that out to you in a later video. So anyways, in the description, we are doing a giveaway. We'll have an announcement video a little bit later down the line, but you can actually sign up for it now. We're giving away 5 booster boxes for the 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys again for that, but check the description for that, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.